am Pius Kojubaka. I want to begin from Parliament because we're learning that big story. A potential government shutdown looms as Parliament adjourns without reaching the reading of the mini-budget statement. The development follows the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam's absence from the chamber for the 5th consecutive day to present the critical motion. There was no agreement on the key business the government intended to address, so the mini-budget was not presented. Let's bring in our parliamentary correspondent on what really transpired. Kweku Asante joins us via Zoom for a quick update on that. Thanks so much, Kweku, for joining me on Business Live. Just when we thought the minister would appear today after that assurance from the majority side, he failed to appear to lay the mini-budget. What could be the reason?
The reason was that was the assurance that was given yesterday by the majority leadership that the minister will appear before the House today and deliver that message. In fact, it has been coming all along the week. The calls had been rife for the minister to show up and make that presentation. He hadn't showed up despite several assurances that were made. So ultimately, today, when he didn't show up again, there was really no business to be done because the other outstanding business having to do with loans, tax waivers, Supreme Court nominees, were also businesses that the NDC were opposed. So the Speaker of Parliament had to adjourn Parliament indefinitely up until 2nd January. This means that between 1st January and the time at least will be put on the floor, there will be a government shutdown. The government will not have funds to operate. There will be no money to use for goods and services, capital expenditure, among other things. So that is their lowdown, and the Speaker of Parliament said you have really no option than to adjourn the House indefinitely. Following this, the leaders on both sides have been trading blames as to who exactly is to blame for this. None of them really willing to accept the blame, and the House is currently on break up until 2nd January.
And following that, there's been counter accusations and etc. from both sides. Tell us more.
Yes, we first heard from the minority leader, Dr. Tesol Ghana, who said the government had reneged on its responsibilities to actually present this mini-budget, and that as far as they are concerned, it's simply because the government is not alive to its duties and responsibilities, and that is why, despite the persistent assurances, they haven't showed up to do that. If you have that instead, we can listen to the minority leader, Dr. Tesol Ghana.
All right, Kweku, before we do that, what next now that Parliament is on break?
Can you come again?
I'm asking what next right after Parliament has gone on break. What happens?
Well, between now and when Parliament resumes, nothing can happen, and the House will not be sitting the whole of next week. It's Christmas, and then the start of the next 2 weeks is also the early week of New Year. But the House is returning as soon as practicable. That is 2nd January 2025. And when they come, the expectation is that the minister will come and present this mini-budget at the start of 2025. If he doesn't present it, Dr. Tesol Ghana has assured that a new government on assumption of office in January of 2025 will expeditiously put this mini-budget before the House and approve it to ensure that the government shutdown will not last for a longer period, and in particular, public sector workers can draw down on their salaries in January of 2025. The MPP side says this government shutdown is as a result of what they call NDC lawlessness, quoted unquote. They say that the NDC MPs are simply not being welcoming for other government business to be done. And that is why this inevitable state of play has occurred.
Grateful Kweku Asante, our parliamentary affairs correspondent, bringing us to speed on this very latest development. Let's make economic sense out of all of this. Joining us via Zoom as well is economist Professor Lord Mensah. Thanks so much, sir, for joining us here on Business Live. Now, your initial thoughts about happenings with regards to the passage of the mini-budget. Surprised are you?
I think it's unfortunate, to get to this level where budget, approvals and readings has become a problem as far as, Parliament is concerned. The Parliament knows that we're running a system that every penny that government spends must go through, the parliamentary system. So I don't think, it doesn't matter how tight, their schedules are, how difficult, they're not coming to terms with agreement within the chamber. I don't think it should affect, the budget reading, because the technical men who, prepares the budget have been on the ground since October. Budget preparation normally typically starts somewhere in October. So Just coming to the floor to come and read the budget, I don't think it should have been a problem. But like I said earlier in my submission some time ago, it has to do with ego management. And Parliament needs to understand that Parliament is just a subset of the country. And trust me, with this delay, there's a serious economic consequence to it, which we may take it for granted, but it's a deep one. Already, we have an economy that is, well dominated by government business. And so if there's a delay in government budget reading, trust me, the economic consequence is a huge one.
And I want to know the economic consequences. Tell me more.
Yeah, of course, we know what is on the budget, salary payment. We know what is on the budget, talking about interest payment, talking about goods, expenditure on goods and services. And even in terms of revenue, mobilization. I mean, any attempt that government will, go about mobilizing revenue would tend to be kind of illegality because, there should be kind of approval of budget in Parliament before government can go ahead to, mobilize revenue to meet up the necessary expenditures that's supposed to be. So people on the street can decide not to pay, their tithes, their taxes and all those, and nothing can happen. So for me, I think what they are doing, they shouldn't think it's just happening in the chamber, but then, or maybe trying to squeeze one way or the other, another government who is coming to power or trying to, arrange some kind of economic bomb that the next administration is likely to come and meet or something. But they should understand that this goes beyond, just, Parliament. It's the Ghanaian economy we are looking at. Delay in payments in salaries, delay in payment for salaries, it can demoralize workforce and production can go down completely. Again, for interest payment, you're still deepening the investor confidence that has waned as far as, the Ghanaian economy is concerned. So from where I sit, there's a deep, economic, difficulty that can go with it if it continues.
Well, some have also said this is going to create some sort of uncertainties in the minds of investors if the over 86 billion cedis mini budget is not passed. You agree with them, don't you?
Yes, I do, because the investor confidence can easily go down. I mean, investors come to the economy to trade. I mean, they trade and they expect that whatever activities they generate in the economy, they will go back and then pay those who are giving them the money. So if there's a delay in government business, I mean, you don't expect any investor to come in with his money.
For you, what do you think is the way out for all of this?
I think it's about time Parliament needs some kind of referential, courses for them to appreciate, the essence of being in Parliament. I mean, not just to, throw tantrums here and there. They need to appreciate that when push comes to shoves, I mean, as much as you are passing laws, you need to also have negotiation skills. You need to also have, the ability to convince, your counter, party, so that at least you can all come to terms and convert to a point where, you move the country forward. So it's Ghana first.
Do you think?
And then also, like I said, we may have to look at the caliber of people that we send to Parliament, the quality and the kind of the understanding of, economic issues and at the same time governance issues.
For you, do you believe that the incoming administration can do something about this mini budget the moment he assumes office?
Yes, of course. I mean, they've been in budget. Let me tell you, the budget process, I mean, the minority is always part of it. They go through the review processes and all those. The formulation, that is what comes from what we call the technical men on the ground. We're talking about Ministry of Finance. But then when it comes to the review of the budget before its reading and then also possibly the appropriation, it involves a committee in Parliament. So they are much aware of what is happening. And so it won't take much time to organize themselves, after the 7th December to get a mini budget or possibly get us a full year budget. Very
well. Thank you so much. Professor Lord Mensah is an economist sharing his perspective with us here on the subject matter. Let's stay a while longer on the economy this time round. And the International Monetary Fund has assured that it remains committed to helping stabilize Ghana's economy with regards to technical and financial support. It followed fresh revelations from the fund, which showed that Ghana's economy is still exposed to serious threats despite the significant progress made under the program. Julie Zokas is the Director of Communications at the International Monetary Fund.
On December 2nd, the IMF's executive board completed the third review of the program. This gave Ghana access to $360 million US dollars, bringing total disbursements under the program to $1.9 billion. Performance under the program has been generally satisfactory, and there's been remarkable progress on debt restructuring. Economic growth is recovering rapidly. Inflation has importantly declined, although at a slower pace, and the fiscal position and the external position have continued to improve. With respect to the question about the further questions on the program, of course, the primary focus of the program doesn't change, right? It is to support Ghana in restoring macroeconomic stability, ensuring debt sustainability, fostering long-lasting and inclusive growth. And in terms of the possibility of making adjustments to the program, our programs are developed always in collaboration with the authorities in the country. And they are aimed at achieving the economic objectives that I just discussed. We do have regular reviews under the program to assess progress and ensure that the program is aligned with its intended goals.
The Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors has appealed to the Bank of Ghana to increase the foreign exchange allocations to its members through the special bi-weekly auction for petroleum product importation. There is more in this report.
In its 2023 Ghana Petroleum Industry Report, the Chamber said an increase in foreign exchange allocation to bulk oil distributors will not only assure adequate supply of fuel, but will also empower members of the Chamber to have enough stock to avert price increase of petroleum products at the pumps. In addition, the Chamber asked government to implement policies that will help stabilize the cedi to reduce pump prices of petroleum products. It added that government should remove burdensome taxes and levies on LPG to promote affordability and increase LPG consumption. Also, the Chamber asked the National Petroleum Authority to implement policies that will promote the exportation of products by bulk oil distributors to neighboring countries. The Chamber called on stakeholders to construct a pipeline to interconnect the private depots with the central oil refinery.
Accounting and professional services firm KPMG Ghana is making a case for the central bank to continue efforts in stabilizing the exchange rate system to drive down costs of borrowing for businesses. The local currency has been stable against the dollar around 15 cedis in the last couple of weeks due to some measures introduced by the central bank and the just ended peaceful general elections. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Joy Business, Senior Managing Partner at KPMG, Anthony Sapon, stressed the need for the stable currency to benefit businesses by driving down costs of borrowing and cost of production.
That the government, through working with the central bank, will stabilize the exchange rate as well as stabilize the economy. In that way, it will allow for cost of credit, which currently is high, and we're beginning to see a bit of drop of that, but it's still high for businesses in Ghana. So that cost of credit can also come down, and when it comes down, it allows businesses to be able to attract. In that respect, if you look at the current government, they introduced what we call the Development Bank that is expected to be providing wholesale financing through the commercial bank to businesses. And the incoming government has also signaled a development bank, a women's development bank, which is also right step to make. And therefore, if that is also created, then of course we have specialized development banks to make sure that they are providing credit either to women-owned businesses or to all other businesses. The key thing is, again, ensuring that these institutions work properly, they work efficiently, and they focus on their core mandate to make sure that they deliver to the intended target. And of course, beneficiaries in turn also show credibility and trustfulness by repaying facilities that they take from these institutions.
This is still Business Live. We have more stories for you after this break. Welcome back to Business Live. Tesol Ghana has finally rewarded its most loyal customer with a whopping amount of 1 million cedis in the More Money promo today. This, according to the company, is to give back to its subscribers. Here is more in this report.
In total, we spent about 4.5 million Ghana cedis, given that we were giving daily prices and weekly prices. People were winning 100 Ghana cedis on daily basis, and on weekly basis, we were giving a 30,000 Ghana cedis. And what you are witnessing today is 1 million Ghana cedis, which is the grand prize that has been given out to a young lady of 20 years. Thus far, we have rewarded, we intended to reward about 15,500. But you remember, if you were following, we had a lot of calls that people wanted more opportunities, so we extended it, and the intention was to reward about 22,500. When we look at the 100 Ghana cedis, the 100 weekly winners, we rewarded about 100 customers. So far, you're looking around 22,500 winners.
I truly appreciate the time watching Business Life with me, Pius Kojo Baka. We have more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Beyond the Numbers is next.